Hello, everyone, and welcome to Snap Take. This is Glazer of Snap Judgments, the official podcast of Marvel Snap Zone. Today, we've got an 83% win rate deck, and I know you're looking at that going, small sample. Yep, it sure is. Straight up. I'm telling you right at the top, this is a really small sample, but a version of this deck is tier 1. Get used to the idea of it. This deck is going to be one of the best homes for Supergiant. This deck is going to be a tier 1 deck. It's created by an absolute phenomenal deck builder who, if you follow the Marvel Snap tournament scene, if you follow these videos, you'll know it's a Desmond deck. We've also got a deck from Safety Blade and another deck from Buddii. So before we get started, I would like to quickly talk to you about our Marvel Snap League. Basically, what happens is you give us $1 for Patreon. We're using that dollar literally for prizes and overhead only. For that $1 Patreon, you join the Patreon and you get into the Discord. From there, you are entered into a tournament where you will play some of Marvel Snap's biggest and best creators. And I'm going to tell you why I want you to join this, and it's a different reason than usual. We're not going to tell you about any of the wonderful creators who are joining. We've got, like, most of your favorite creators joining this tournament. What we're trying to do is we're trying to create a history and a story of Marvel Snap the game. Games that last a long time have histories and stories. Players that come out of nowhere and win major tournaments. The first person to win 2 of these. That epic game where in the finals this person won, this person lost. That creates a history and an emotional attachment to the game that makes Marvel Snap a healthier, longer lasting game. And it only works if we all participate, if we are all a community and we are all a part of it. So please join the Snap Judgments League. All you have to do is go to patreon.com/snapjudgments, and from there you will be able to join the league. Oh, $1 tier and up gets you in. Hopefully that's enough reason to subscribe. Excuse me. It's very late. It's been a very long day. I have good news updates though. Hopefully you subscribe. We do 3 new decks every single weekday. We do a video every Sunday also, usually a deck guide, but sometimes we do something else cool. Like we did tips for Infinite earlier this week. We did a guide to how to maximize card acquisition a week before that. We do stuff like that. We bring you all the news, everything you need. We are the most comprehensive, full Marvel Snap show you can find. Hopefully that's enough to earn your sub. We need your help, your likes, your comments to beat that YouTube algorithm. It only wants to show you the same 4 big creators. And hey, y'all, Dex is super cool, but he's already got 80,000. Throw us an extra sub. Doesn't hurt, right? Thanks. All right. We begin, as always, with questions of the day. Then we're going to do our patch thoughts. It's a patch day, so why would we not do patch thoughts? Then we're going to look at Safety Blade's deck. Patch decks. I've got 2 decks for each card changed in the patch. Then we've got a Desmond deck, the one that is from the thumbnail. I'm going to look quickly at my favorite hip variants. Sorry, I need a shave and my mustache is being a pain. We're going to look at... Oh, sorry. I had a hair from my mustache. Excuse me. I know that was gross. Trust me, I felt it too. A deck from Buddii, who's super cool. It's Loki Helicarrier. You can find Buddii at the link right there. And then we're going to do shop and shoutouts. Okay. We're not doing reminders today. I got to get rid of this slide. We never end up covering the slide. This is just a bunch of the cool stuff we're doing right now. So if you'd like to check it out, please feel free. Jason Salazar and Star Snorlax both want to know how to tell if your opponent's a bot. And I don't care if my opponent's a good bot. I only care if my opponent's a shitty bot, right? Basically what I'm looking for is weirdly ordered plays. Things like card then Angela, or plays Angela then randomly plays somewhere else for no real reason. Guess what? That's a bot. And what I do when I try and see a bot that way is I try and let them be ahead. I try and like play little, knowing that I can gain more power. I can get them to snap me. I can snap back. They'll stay in because they see themselves as ahead, and then I can win big cubes that way. Some cards are also tells. If they're running like Electra or Supergiant, I figure, not Supergiant, excuse me, Electra or Strong Guy, I figure there's a reasonable chance there's a bot. Bots play weird cards. Bots play cards in weird places, and it's not always many. It's often only one, and sometimes I'll get tricked into thinking something's a bot, and then it'll be like, oh, you did it because of that. That's a cool play, and I'll lose some cubes because of it. Cool. I gain far more cubes by just using those 2 simple rules to find bots than I lose from the occasional person who tricks me. Established 1988 asks how people get such great community card ideas, and I don't know. I'm not good at creating cards, but the Drew Berryverse is, we do custom cards every Wednesday, and you can join in the Berryverse. The link is in the description to this video, every video basically. I'm going to ask the people who compete in the card creation competitions to leave a comment in this video and say where you get your ideas. Where do your ideas come from? How do you do this? Cool. Reply in the comments, please, if you are one of those people. I'll post this in the Drewberry portion, my portion of the Drewberry Discord, to ask you to do so. Joe Pro asks my Five Guys In-N-Out and Shake Shack thoughts, and get settled. All right, In-N-Out is not that good. In-N-Out was really good at first because Five Guys and Shake Shack didn't exist. In-N-Out is good because if you've only had McDonald's your whole life, right? If your fast food burger of choice is McDonald's, then you have In-N-Out. In-N-Out is the best McDonald's burger you'll ever have. But Five Guys and Shake Shack are phenomenal. Now, what Five Guys does really well is not actually their burgers. When you go to Five Guys, you ask for your burger all the way. You get a bacon cheeseburger all the way, and they put every condiment on there, that all their free condiments go on there. What makes that so good to me, obviously this is my perspective, what makes that so good to me is that every bite now tastes like a slightly different meal, and that's fantastic. And that's my favorite single burger experience. However, the actual patty, the actual burger, Shack Burger is the king. Now, it's important to note, Five Guys has far and away the best fries of these. In-N-Out has actual garbage fries. Shake Shack's fries are fine, but nothing to write home about. And Five Guys give you a mountain of incredible fries. So if you want a really good patty at Shake Shack, the shakes at Shake Shack are not great despite the name. In-N-Out has a fine burger if you really, really love McDonald's. And Five Guys if you want a bunch of different flavors or love fries. Generally speaking, I go to Shake Shack more than Five Guys because Shake Shack has a really great veggie burger. My wife's a vegetarian. We like to make it so she can eat when we go out to eat also. Five Guys only has a mushroom burger, and it's not really good. Family update. My dad was in the hospital. To those of you who watched and wished well, thank you so much. He is now home and doing well and texting me a million questions about my son, as he always does. So things are better there. It's part of why this video was a little late and why, well, I guess it's not late for you guys. I'm recording it later at night. It's releasing at the same time as always because, as you all know at this point, I'm a crazy person and the videos happen basically no matter what. But family's going well. Thank you so much. Still have 10,000 work things to do. A podcast tomorrow. I recorded on Snap Decisions. Check it out. Snap Decisions with Joe. So I'm on that podcast because, again, I do too many things because I'm a crazy person. But if you're interested, please check it out. You can find me on Snap Decisions. Cool. If you'd like your question on tomorrow's video, leave one in the comments. And hey, y'all, for real, I read the comments yesterday. My heart was truly warmed. I am truly, genuinely thrilled. Thank you so, so much for all the kind words and well wishes to my family. Things worked out great this time. I know they won't always, but I'm really happy they did this time. All right, so the patch. We got some patch news. We got more Spotlight data mines. That's... sorry. Okay. Sorry, I'm telling you, I'm a little off today. I promise I'll get my game on. All right, game face. Hooah. Ready? No more Spotlight data mines. News broke today that they're not going to let us data mine Spotlight caches from here on out, and that would be a terrible disaster. This is a game that requires really strict planning of how to use your resources if you're not going to suffer from extreme FOMO, which is what they want, so I get why they're getting rid of it. They want you to suffer from extreme FOMO, so you spend more money. I think that is an extremely, extraordinarily, super-duper shitty business practice. I came on here already to yell and scream about how completely, completely unacceptable it was. However, I went and checked, and Marvel Snap Zone, SnapFan, and the wonderful Drewberry all have data mines for April that weren't there yesterday. They're tentative, and they might not be right, but they exist. We have them. If they're less sure than before, that's fine. I don't think we need a guarantee. We just want them to exist, right? I was never the person, or not often except for that one Christmas bundle, the person to get mad when data mines changed. For bundles, I don't care if they changed. Until it's released, unless you're advertising it, do what you want. But, huge caveat, that's all cosmetic stuff, right? This getting cards is how you play the game. Don't make me unable to play the game with your financial decision. If we can still play the game and like we're just less sure of what to do because it could change, I'm okay with that. I don't like it. I'm not thrilled, but it doesn't like break my enjoyment of the game the way the other thing is. We have a new album. It's all pixels. It's pixel destroy cards. I've only got like 4 of them. Whatever. I think it's really cool that we have a new album and that it's all 700 gold stuff, and you can get a really cool Wolverine emote from it. I'm still not buying pixels, but eventually I'm just randomly going to fill this, and that's a nice thing. New login rewards start on 211. We'll talk about that tomorrow, and we're also going to discuss the Galactic Carnival tomorrow. Cool. The Galactic Carnival is happening. Make sure you check it on your game home screen as you win like 10 games a day. Basically, you get whatever the hell fake reward they give you, and that bleeds into giving you extra credits and extra other crap. So hey, why not? It's a free extra thing that they're throwing into the game. All right. Our first card changes Beast. Beast went from a 3/4. On reveal, return your other cards here to your hand. Give them -1 cost. To a 2/2. Return to his previous cost and power, but return your other cards here to your hand. They cost 1 less next turn. And they broke Beast outside of one deck, I think. I think Beast exists in one deck. It's the deck that was #1 last season, because that deck wasn't really using Beast to keep things 0 forever. It was using Beast around the late game in order to move around a Werewolf. And if you have a Werewolf out before you Beast, then guess what? You can still basically do that. You'll have a slightly worse Werewolf, but otherwise the deck is still super strong. Decks that really rely on Beast are dead, I think. Or at least, like, significantly worse. The bounce deck I hit Infinite with last season, I played it. It's really much worse. The deck I was crushing with, because I was absolutely crushing with that Doc D deck, I had like an 80% win rate with it. It's way worse. I think the problem they had was Beast was better than Supergiant. Not Supergiant, excuse me. Beast was better than Black Swan. And they don't really want to release Black Swan, their big season pass card they want to spend money on, as a worse version of a card that was already in the game. So they changed Beast and made Beast way worse. But the problem is I don't think Black Swan's good either which way. And now they took away one of the best ways to play it. Beast is now worse Falcon in most decks. Especially if you're running Black Swan too, and that kind of sucks. It's really upsetting. Bounce is my favorite archetype, and this is sad. I think I need to find a new thing to play for now. Alright, we also have Omega Red. Omega Red went from unplayable 4/5. If you're ahead by 10 power here, you get +4 power to the other locations. To ongoing, if you're winning here, +3 power to other locations. So if you're winning in a location, he's a 4/11. Yeah, that's great. He's phenomenal. Is he as good as Ms. Marvel? No, but he's basically free to play Ms. Marvel now. And in some decks, especially if you're just dropping him on turn 5, he's not nearly as telegraphed, and you're more likely to get his effect, right? I think he's great. I think he's probably one of the 20-ish best cards in Marvel Snap. This is a truly great card. 4 costs are great. This is one of the best 4 costs, and it has a ton of natural homes. We're going to be seeing Omega Red in top decks from here on out, at least based on early impressions of this card. Great, 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 great decision. Does it make up for Beast? Not for me, but probably for most people. Next up, we have Helicarrier, and this seems dumb, right? Like, it seems like it's really going to be bad, and then it's completely amazing. So what was, when you discard this, add 3 random cards to your hand? Now it's when you discard this, fill your hand with random cards. What that means is it now is incredible with Collector. You can have basically an empty hand. And if you Collector, you've just refilled your hand, which seems like it's kind of amazing, right? And you get like +4 or 5 power with Collector. It's really great with Loki. It gives you basically, guarantees you basically, if you can Lady Sif into Loki, basically their whole deck -1 6 cards of their deck, which is just incredible. Helicarrier is now good. It's also seems amazing with Corvus Glaive, where if you've got a handful of random cards, but you got +1 energy, especially if you have Quinjet out, go to town, enjoy yourself. Corvus Glaive is now the ship deck. Let's go. This is really cool. I think these 2 changes are really great. I wish there were more, but the meta's in a good place, and I get them not really trying to shake it up too much. They're just giving us buffs. Although, again, I do really, really hate the Beast change. Alright, our first deck is Safety's Thanos Lockjaw. He calls this Blobby Lashley. It's got a really high win rate. The versions of this have been great forever. Basically, what this used to do before Supergiant came out and before Black Swan came out was it used to run Leech and Wave. Is it better with Supergiant and Black Swan? Don't care. Still a super duper effective deck. Cool. Either which way, it is one of the top decks in the game. Those 2 cards make it better, but not like significantly better, and worse, but not like significantly worse, right? They're all within the same general tier. and we'll have to play a lot of games to figure out where they are. I do think it's reasonably cool that Kyra and Scar are the cards that came out the same week last month, and Black Swan and Supergiant are this month, and they're all in the deck. So, small favors, right? It's a simple Lockjaw Thanos deck. You get Lockjaw, you play cards, and Lockjaw, you win. If you don't see Lockjaw, you can Swan and just draw a bajillion cards and use that to try and win. If one of the cards you draw is if one of the cards you play is Time Stone for 0, then you can play a 6 on 5, which is great. Or you can play that Time Stone on 3 to ramp into Devil Dino or Vision as necessary. Or if you miss all that, you can just Supergiant and just drop a Devil Dino on 5. Play a bunch of cheap stuff, drop a Devil Dino on 5, you're ahead, and then you should be able to win because that Devil Dino is likely to be relatively safe from Shang-Chi. They'd have to guess both the right place and for Shang-Chi to be played at that turn, right? They'd have to guess both the right place and the right turn for Shang-Chi. All right. Swan can be Wave, Supergiant can be Leech, Jeff can be Nightcrawler, Kara can be Armor, but you need Blob and Thanos. So far, so good? Cool. Again, this is a real simple one. All right, so this has a 63 win rate in 100 games for Blobby Lashley. This also, with the other version, had about a 63% win rate in a bunch more games. So turn 1 and 2 are basically built around draw. You can occasionally Jeff on turn 2. I really liked on the snapshot Torrican, who's probably the best Thanos Lockjaw player right now outside of the Human Spider. So it's between those two for best Thanos Lockjaw player. Argued that Jeff belongs here because you want the extra move, because there's locations that benefit from filling and extra cards, and Jeff is absolutely phenomenal for those. And that makes a lot of sense to me. It's also great if it pops out of Lockjaw. Turn 3, Lockjaw is better than Time Stone, is better than Kara, is more or less equal to Swan. If you've played a bunch of 1s and you see a threat, then play Kara. If you know you're going to ramp on 4 to an extra 6, play Kara. If not, then Swan is fine. Swan's actually probably better then, because then you try and do the ramp on 4 with Kara and a bunch of free stuff, and that's pretty damn good too. So turn 4 is Stone and Jaw, along with Swan or Kara, outside of Jaw, and a 5 if Time Stone was played on 3. Time Stone is really great on turn 4, and you can always just drop Supergiant. Turn 5 is usually the biggest card you can, ideally with the card in Lockjaw, and then turn 6 is the same thing. Enjoy. This is not an incredibly difficult deck to play, and it is incredibly powerful. There's a million little tricks for it, but you should be able to win with this deck relatively consistently, assuming you're good with Thanos. Getting good with Thanos is a skill that takes time, though. All right, we're not going to talk about every variant in this deck. We're going to count up our hips. We got Jeff, we got Lockjaw, we got Vision, Blob, and Magneto. And hey, from the Conquest, because I don't play on hot location, so I played Conquest all day. In Conquest, I got my Conquest variant, and it's Baby Thanos, so I threw Baby Thanos in the deck so you could see it. We have new hips that were data mined. I just want to look at them and talk about them quickly. We've got an America Chavez, which is really great, and I like it. And look, I'm going to buy all these, but I'd have been so much more excited for this when this was a 6/9. We've got Captain Marvel, who really needs to go back to a 4/5. These so far are two not very playable cards. You probably shouldn't be running either. The Miek is adorable, and I really want it like right now. Hopefully that comes out fundamentally immediately, because I have a feeling with Corvus Glaive and the new Helicarrier that Miek is start to go in some decks for me. We have Rockslide, which is apparently the card. Yesterday, someone asked what card I wish had the hit most, and apparently the answer should have been Rockslide, because holy shit, do I want this Rockslide? Like real bad. I think this Rockslide's incredible, and I would play it over Rock Paper Scissors Slide, which is one of my 10 favorite variants in Snap. So yep. And then this cloak's really nice. I have 2 good cloaks, so I'm not super in need of a third. But hey, it's a Dan hip, so I'll buy it. These are new Dan hips. We'll look at some other cool new variants that were data mined in either tomorrow or Sunday's video, because we also have to talk about tomorrow both weekend mission decks, and we have to talk about relatively soon, if not tomorrow, all the new spotlight caches, all the new data mine cards. We need to relook at with new context the whatever last month is, whatever next month, the March spotlight caches. We got a lot to do in these between deck segments, so get ready. We're gonna be doing a ton. Okay. Scorpion's a little silly here. I'm just going to say it off the bat. Scorpion's a lot of power right now, but like Scorpion doesn't actually need to be here. Scorpion can be one of like 4 or 5 cards. We're going to talk about what option Scorpion can be. The rest of this deck is completely insane. This is so strong. You can run Doom in it, right? If you want to, you can run a lot of cards. There's not set things like that. Vision could be Doom. You can run just an extra like decent sized card here, like a bigger card than Vision in that 5 spot. But it doesn't matter because this deck is silly strong. Like, it's so strong. It's got so much play. This is a meta deck. Cool. Like, hey, Desmond's insanely OP. Desmond is super, like, one of the strongest players in the game. A brilliant player. But this deck is also just, like, completely playable once you get the hang of it and really, really hard to beat. Oh, you can throw in so much. Let's do it. Nebula can be Iceman or Nightcrawler. Jeff or Scorpion can be Daredevil or Omega Red. Lad can be Absorbing Man. Scorpion could also be Daredevil or Omega Red or Absorbing Man. Ms. Marvel can be Omega Red now in every deck, and this needs Alioth. So, what Absorbing Man gives you is if you have priority, when you Supergiant, you can play Absorbing Man, it won't reveal, and then you can Alioth one lane. And then when Absorbing Man reveals, he's going to Alioth another lane. And that's super strong. What Daredevil gives you is now their card reveals for you first on turn 5 when you Supergianted, and yours doesn't to them. And now you've got this huge advantage, and if you snap, they like have to run. And what Omega Red gives you is an extra +3 power in every lane if you play it where you're going to end up Aliothing, or where you're way ahead. Cool. All right. So this went 24 and 5 for 83%. I know that's not a huge win rate, but that's silly. This hit infinite and then kept winning post infinite. So turn 1 is Nebula Blind. Turn 2 is Zabu over Scorpion over Jeff. Turn 3, Storm over Ms. Marvel over Lad, which is better than a 2. Turn 4, if Storm, Quake in another 2. If Supergiant, if anything else, then Supergiant. And then if not, you play one of your turn 3 plays. Turn 5, if Storm, now you're Visioning. If Supergiant, now you're Ms. Marvel over Shang. And then Vision and Lad are basically tied. Cool. It's also worth noting at this point that you could also play if you have Zabu out, you can play something like Jeff or Scorpion with Lad, Jeff or Scorpion with Ms. Marvel. Good. Turn 6, Alioth and win. If you would rather go wide, if you don't have priority, you can play Shang-Chi. You should still be fine. Again, this deck is really, really strong, and I strongly, strongly urge you to try it out. Okay, so quick variant talk. The variant I really want to talk about is I bought the nullified Shang-Chi because it's great, and I wanted to show it off, and I think it goes cool in a deck with Alioth. So that's what we're really talking about here. Our hip counts is Nebula, Zabu, Jeff, Vision, Alioth, Lad, Ms. Marvel. 7, pretty damn good. Cool deck. Give me a good Supergiant variant second dinner. All right, some decks for the new cards. Ready? These are our cards that were changed. We're going to do 2 decks for each, 2 Omega Red. We've got the Hella Enjoyer Tribunal, which was the most popular deck in the game 2 seasons ago post-Infinite. Well, it doesn't run Ms. Marvel anymore. It runs Omega Red. Omega Red is better because there's almost always one lane that you have 10 bajillion power at. While Ms. Marvel is great, she's often much harder to use because now you have to try and play for the middle, and you have all these 2s and all these 3s, and you Jubilee places, and Jubilee goes to get things and ruins your day and beats you. Well, Omega Red says, let's not worry about that. Where Omega Red is worse is if you end up onslaughting it or mystiquing it, because doubling 5 to 10 is much more than doubling 3 to 6. But outside of that, I think that this is arguably better. It's at least close. It's at least a competition. Cool. It also makes the deck cheaper, right? Because now you've got Zabu, Ravonna, and Tribunal. That's the only... Oh, and Lad. I guess this is still an expensive deck. Oh, well, what you gonna do? Okay. Next up, we have a Lockdown deck. This is very similar to the previous Lockdown list. I wanted to show you another version. Everyone's coming up with similar versions of this. Similar versions of this. This basically says, what if we threw in Doom and Omega Red and just had really great ways to go wide, along with our Stormquake nonsense and our Alioth nonsense. So that's what this deck is. Simple enough, right? A Mega Red should be great here. Is this better than the previous version? It's not as tested. I have no idea. But again, a version of this deck. Whether this is the perfect 12 or not, I doubt. And either of these are the perfect 12 this soon. We will get to the perfect 12 literally when W wakes up and looks at this deck. And then we will tell you all about it, because this is going to be a meta deck. This is going to be a meta nightmare. Oh, this one didn't run Supergiant. That's why I showed it. There are two versions, one with Supergiant, one without. But I feel like some of you probably miss Supergiant. And if you miss Supergiant, here, have a Supergiant free version. If I did have Supergiant, the card I'd probably have to cut would be like Lad or Vision, which super sucks. But what are you going to do? All right. We're on to our Beast deck. This is our current Beast deck with our 2/2 Beast. We featured this deck yesterday. This was the number 1 and number 2 deck last season. It's still got a 65% win rate. The change to Beast didn't do a whole lot to it. It's dominating post-infinite still. This may still be the best deck in the game. The Beast deck made it weaker, but like not enough to really matter. This deck is insanely, insanely strong. You should probably play it. I'm just saying. It's that good. Play this deck. Next up, we have the Lambie Bounce. The Lambie Bounce is doing fine. Like, it was never a meta deck. It was just a good deck, and it's still a good deck. It's just a less consistent good deck. You'll note that despite all the ones, this still doesn't really super want Black Swan. It can run it, but like on turn 5, it really wants an Iron Man, and Iron Man's better than Black Swan. The problem is they're trying to make bounce decks have to do bouncy shit on turn 5, and on turn 5 they want to do something else, and on turn 6 they want to play. And well, Beast used to be the answer to that problem, right? And now he's not. I don't know. Lambie Bounce is good. All right, we're on to Helicarrier, Happier Subjects. This is the, I forget the player's name. I'm so sorry. I had it in my head, but it's gone. Cam Best featured this player over on his YouTube. He was basically doing shenanigans with Helicarrier, Miek, and Collector Morbius. That's what this deck is. It says I can make Morbius, Collector, Miek, and often Doc and Huge. If I can get a Modok off on Wong, power goes brrr, and if you have Helicarrier in hand and you can Modok on Wong, oh boy, you just got 10 bajillion power on Mobius and Miek and Collector. And that seems pretty good, especially like with Swarm in hand too. There's a lot to like here. This is just a really cool deck. Maybe I'll try and hit Infinite with this. This seems fun enough that I'm going to mess with it some. And now we're on to our next real feature deck. This is the Buddii Loki Hela. You can tell that, see the difference? Regular variants, my variants. So we've got the Buddii Loki Hela. The Buddii Loki Hela is awesome. This is an absolutely sick deck. I played an earlier version of this, but now it runs a Collector again, because Collector grows off Snowguard. That's a 2/4. Coulson, that's a 2/4. Fury, that's a 2/5. Helicarrier, that's up to a 2/8 or 2/9. We only have Lady Sif. Perhaps we want Blade, perhaps not. I don't really care. I'm perfectly fine just running Lady Sif and saying I've got 1/6 in the deck. If I draw these together, it's great. If not, I'm going to go a different way for my gameplay, because you also have the Quinjet Nick Fury play, where you go Quinjet Nick Fury and then you play 2 6s. Perfectly fine with that. Or the Zabu play, where you go Zabu, and then if you Lady Sif away a Nick Fury card, you can go Ghost Rider and Shang to end the game. Or any such nonsense, right? You can play a whatever Coulson card and Shang to end the game. Or a Mirage, you get the idea. Yeah, this deck is super cool. It's super powerful. We love it. We're happy it exists in the game. And it's strong. So go get Zabu. Zabu is, again, the most important card in Marvel Snap right now. Loki is needed for the deck. Mirage can be either Sentinel or Blade. I'm probably going to play it with Blade in the spot because I'm a degen. It's probably better with Mirage, though. And then Snowguard can be Maria Hill. It gets worse. Snowguard's important. So this went 17-3, all post-infinite games, which means it was playing real players who hit infinite in day 1, which is real hard competition. Turn 1, Quinjet or Snowguard. Turn 2, Zabu or Collector. Turn 3, if you played Snowguard and Zabu, then you play Loki. If you had Collector out, then you Sif or you Coulson. You Sif if the Helicarrier is in hand, or you play Agent Coulson. Turn 4, if your hand is big for whatever reason, you Loki. If not, you play a Coulson card, or you drop a Fury if you have Quinjet. And then turn 5 and 6 are basically generated cards, with the exception that you can play Sif and Collector on 5, and then you can play Ghost Rider and Shang on turn 6, which is just really great power. Cool. Quick hip talk. We are so hip light here. We are Collector, Zabu, Sif, Fury, and Helicarrier. Only 5. A little bit sad. I will get that Coulson hip as soon as it comes out. It is not really out yet. Got our Rainbow Bridge Loki. We have a little Jacinto thing going with Shang-Chi and Ghost Rider as buddies. And then the other thing I like is that we've got also the Ghost Rider Quinjet to put in with this too. All right. Shop and then Patreon, and then we out and I can go to sleep. So our shop is ready. Poopy today. I didn't like any of these cards. I hate the Marvel Girl costume for Jean Grey. I have like 4 or 5 good miles. I have a hip for $20.99, a hip for Zola, a hip for Null. I have Peach Momoko and the She-Hulk that we got from spending way too much money in the game. I have like 3 Taskmasters, and there's a hip that's data mined, and then I don't like Venomized variants, so I'm not getting Black Cat. So ultimately, poop. But I got several variants over the past few days. I got the baby Thanos that I showed you earlier. I got this pretty cool Cerebro. Lucha Warpath, and I can't decide how I feel about it. And the Beast that I don't really like. It's Dr. Jekyll, not Beast. It doesn't feel like Beast the character at all to me. But hey, I'm really happy with 3 of these. I'm really happy with 2 of these variants. I'm okay on one, and I just don't like this Beast very much. Cool. I know everyone loves the Beast. Don't yell at me in the comments. I know you like it. All right. Certain tiers of Patreon support come with on-air thanks. So we've got Abigail Giesland, Baz Cassandra, Cables, DG Winfield, Direwolf, LAB, Alyapi, excuse me, Fathor Newman, Good Dog Gamer, Inc., Jane Everett, JD McDonaldino, Aquila Platano, which is amazing. I don't know why I have a K there, excuse me. Hertix Lee, Koi Ray, Models, Louis Antunes, Matt Condit, Matt H., Mike Maglint, NoFlex, Ocularis, Pretty Chill, Seamus, Spike Jones, Two Ties, X-Force V, and of course, the homie, Min. Thanks for watching. Check out the Patreon. Be a part of Marvel Snap history. Join the Snap Judgments League. Play 1 game a week. Be part of history. Hit that sub button. Hit that like. Hit that comment. We'll see you tomorrow with another Snap Take. Thanks again so much for your kind words yesterday. I appreciate it more than you can know. Peace.